Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Break-Thru Active podcast. My name is Mitch. I am your host today, and I have one of our wonderful members from Cardiff. I've got Richelle with us here this morning. So welcome, Richelle. Thanks for coming on.
Hi.
We're going to talk a little bit about Richelle, her time with us. She's been with us about 12 months, but also her experience with exercise. She's done plenty of it, in times gone by. So I want to just go down that rabbit hole a little bit. And she has just finished up one of our 6-week challenges and has seen some pretty good results from that. So I want to dive a little bit deeper there too. So first of all, Richelle, before we met about a year ago, I want to get a bit of a history of what you've done exercise-wise in the past.
So I would have started attending gyms at sort of 19. So, heading up to 30 years ago now, almost. Just on and off and doing different things. I've never been very good at team sports, but I was always battling my weight and always looking at opportunities to try and get fit, and mostly just trying to teach myself how to do things. Always struggled with maintaining any sort of continuity in anything that I did. Until about 8 years ago, after my third child, I decided that I really wanted to put some major effort into achieving some fitness goals and started running, which I'd never done before. So I started attending parkrun and was really sort of enjoying it. And I don't know why it suddenly made sense for me to run. Do not have a runner's body. I don't have history as a runner, but I found that I, for the first time in my life, was able to get past that first initial difficulty of maintaining momentum in a run and to keep going. So at the age of 39, I sort of started kicking some fitness goals and was doing really well at 5K runs. And by the time I hit 40, I'd done a half marathon. Wow. I was really excited about where I was at physically. I was very fit. I was probably the fittest I'd ever been in my life. For a couple of years, and then we sort of moved into a renovation with our house, and the focus moved away from that health and fitness, because we started a renovation and the builder went bankrupt. We were doing a major first floor extension and the builder went bankrupt. So where I found that fitness and health was no longer even a priority at all. It was about keeping my family afloat and not having a breakdown and keeping my husband from turning into an alcoholic. Between the two of us, we packed on a lot of weight. We were feeding our emotions and trying to cope with a really difficult situation. So, of course, I packed on some weight. And after that process finished, and we were able to get back into our home and recover. After my three children, I thought my family was finished. My husband's vasectomy failed, and I found that I was 19 weeks pregnant with baby number 4. So just as we were about to sort of start getting back into recovery, all of a sudden a whole new obstacle presented. So that delayed that return to fitness. Jasper, who's my 4th child, was born with Down syndrome, and he's now almost 4. So it took me probably 2.5 years. And then, of course, in amongst that, we had COVID and all sorts of other things to prioritise myself and my fitness to be in a position where I could go, okay, I need to get back where I was. And then Break-Thru Active came up.
Cool. Well, we'll hold it there just for now, because I want to talk a little bit about everything you just discussed, because there's a lot to unpack. So firstly, I think it is interesting that you got into running, like sort of in your late 30s without having ever done it before. But I will give a shout out to Parkrun. I think it's an unbelievable thing that they do. I've done it. I don't do it as much anymore and haven't done it for a while, but I used to do it, every Saturday or every second Saturday. I think it's absolutely fantastic. They've got a really good community, volunteer support. They have good setup. It's all done just out of, the goodness of people. No one's paid or anything. And they get, hundreds and hundreds of runners depending on where they do it and the weather and everything. And it's all over. I think it started in England actually, but yeah, it's all over, all over Australia. And I think it's, absolutely phenomenal company. But yeah, very, very much something that I think running, you can start to get that itch to do it more. You start to see progress. You start to sort of have it feel a little bit easier. And then, like you mentioned, you do have a lot of people that transition into 10Ks and half marathons or even marathons. So talk a little bit about your marathon experience, half marathon experience.
Well, I'd set a goal. So I started doing the park run with some work colleagues. And a funny thing is, one of my work colleagues, former work colleagues, he's now retired, but he was sort of struggling with the idea of going to do a 5K run. 5Ks, and set up a track in our workshop here at TAFE, working out how many laps of that track he would need to do to travel 5 kilometres, just so he could get his confidence up to go and do it on the road.
Yeah.
And just watching that man be so determined was really inspiring. So we as a team here attended Parkrun together. So the camaraderie was there. But in amongst that, we're all unique, and there was sort of an opportunity to set personal goals. So setting a personal goal first to be able to do the whole parkrun without stopping, for example. So I was walking it for a long time, and then I'd start to run it, and I'd start and stop, and then I'd set being able to run, but at just a shuffle pace, and then slowly increase my pace. And then from there, a couple of events came up. So the Lake Macquarie Running Festival was one event where it had a 10K run. And I thought, 10Ks. Okay, let's work towards that. So I did a few more longer runs just to try and work up towards that. And then I was about 6 months away from my 40th and thought, okay, I need a goal. My first goal was I'm going to win the year for parkrun for most points, and that you achieve by regular attendance, constant improvement, volunteering. So there's lots of ways to accumulate your points on the scoreboard. So that was one of my goals, and it meant that I had to commit to beat a parkrun every week, either as a volunteer or as a runner. And every week that I ran, I had to set the goal to improve. And even if it just meant that I took a second off my time, I just constantly had that target. And I also, at the end of that period of time, wanted to make sure that by the time I turned 40, which is in November towards the end of the year, I could do a half marathon. There wasn't any scheduled half marathon events that I could attend. So I set my own goal, and I mapped a track. And the track was from the 16 footers at Belmont to Marathon Stadium. And that was 21 kilometres. And I got my husband to drop me off at 16 footers. And I did that 21 kilometre half marathon duration to Marathon Stadium. And my family all met me at the other end when I'd finished that run. Because it was the only way I could make sure that I got it in before my 40th birthday. And I did it. And I achieved that goal. It would have been nice for it to have been an event, but as there wasn't one, I didn't want to just go, I can't do it because there's no event. I had to still meet that goal for myself. And I did it.
That's unreal. And it's, what that reminded me of, actually, there was during COVID, both the lockdowns, there was quite a lot of like virtual running events, and we had some people in, involved with Break-Thru who would do those. And a good friend of mine from the Central Coast did something similar. And yeah, it's unfortunate because you kind of want to be in amongst an event and have all that, extra push from other people and all the excitement of that. But to do it by yourself.
Yeah, but one of the things I've learned from running is it's such an individual pursuit. And it's majority of it's in your own head. So, and And it comes back to coming to the gym and joining Break-Thru Active. I've realised that for me, I have to make a decision, a conscious choice and a decision that I'm going to do this particular thing at this particular time and set boundaries around it. And that's very much what running is I have to have a destination when I go for a run. I can't just go, oh, I'm going to go for a run for an hour. I can very rarely do that. I have to say, I'm going to go and do this particular track. I will be back in an hour, but I know that that particular track is it's an 8-kilometre run, for example.
Yeah.
Or I'll get my husband to drop me off at this particular location and I'm going to run home. I'll be there in an hour or 45 minutes, whatever it is.
You definitely have a very strong mindset. Have you always been very goal oriented? Like, I'm getting that vibe, and obviously I know you now and can sense that. But
yeah,
discuss that.
My mum said to my husband when we first started dating, Richelle's a bulldozer. You have to get in the bucket or you're going to get run over. And at times I've taken offence at that sort of analogy, but I do that I have to have a goal. I have to have something that I'm digging at and working towards. It's a major mental health strategy for me. I think being goal oriented keeps me focused and keeps me mentally and emotionally well. When I can't control things, it's like what I talked about earlier with the house and then with Jasper's pregnancy. When things are completely out of my control and I've got no way of sort of bringing it back, that's when I really struggle. And the one thing that I have found that I can control is my own health, my own fitness. So yeah, you're right. I am very goal driven, but it is a very powerful technique that I use to keep myself well, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's sort of two types of people who I'll talk to, and you know, you can kind of divide people within this. People are either going to be goal oriented or they're going to be process oriented. So when they're goal oriented, they have something they're working towards, and that's very much their motivation, their discipline, what they're thinking about and working towards that. And then typically when that goal, you know, is met or that event happens, then they work on something new and they're forever just setting, you know, new goals and working towards that. Then process oriented people are more around, you know, just focusing on the process itself. I'm going to eat well, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to run, I'm going to lift weights, you know, whatever that may be. But it's interesting to hear someone like yourself who is very much goal oriented, and I think it's so great when you can see how much improvement that makes to your mental health too. Like, obviously your physical health is getting better when you're running more and doing all that stuff, but looking at it from a mental health perspective, because, you know, we all know how important that is, and you've obviously drawn the correlation between, you know, when you are physically active and working towards something, then mentally, you know, you're in a good headspace too. It's
one thing I have learned over the years is that I find that physical activity kicks other things off for me. And my husband we've talked about it quite a bit, that so if I'm thinking about wanting to lose weight, for example, when I'm carrying a bit too much weight and I want to lose weight, if I focus just on food intake, which I know is a major component of that's 80% of it. But if I just focus on food, I don't hit any goals. And I find that if I drive it from an exercise perspective, it changes how I feel about food. It changes how I feel about rewarding myself. And I don't feel like I'm missing out or cutting things out when I am following a good diet plan, that, you know, I sort of feel like I want to feed myself well because physically I'm looking after myself. So if I drive it from an exercise perspective, everything else, I sleep better, I drink more water. My planning, because I have to plan for exercise to be a part of my schedule, I have to plan for other things to fit in well too. So my family are better managed. Yeah, so I think it's really important that that the power of exercise isn't overlooked, because when it becomes to weight loss, I'm talking about, you know, that sort of weighing that you do where you go, it's 80% diet and only 20% exercise. I actually think that's a poor way up, because
exercise
drives those other things to fall into place.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's where conversations I have with people is, and it's interesting because when people start to exercise, let's say they've just started with us, or, getting back into it after some time off, even if we don't talk about nutrition at all. So if we're just focusing on, let's get you to 2 or 3 sessions each week to start, and I don't even mention protein, veggies, like none of it, they're going to organically improve their nutrition because it does go hand in hand so much. But I agree in the sense that it starts from that exercise perspective, and it all kind of, once you start doing that, then you think, okay, well, I'm going to start eating better because I don't want to undo my good work and my time, money, energy, effort with the exercise. Starting to eat better. With that comes better water intake. With that comes better sleep, managing your stress better, and managing relationships. And I think it has an extreme carryover to all of it.
I think another part of it too is that exercise makes you feel good. So after you've, maybe not in the moment, but the goal kicking and the endorphins after you've trained. And like for me, when I'm not feeling well, and I'm not feeling emotionally or mentally well, and I'm not looking after myself, and I eat poorly and I feel shit, then I continue to eat poorly because I already feel bad. Where when I feel good after I've exercised, I don't want to wreck that, not just the achievement of the calorie deficit and the work that I've done, but I feel good. And when I eat crappy food, it makes me feel crappy. It tastes good, sure, but as soon as I've eaten too much sugar or too much processed food or junk food, I feel physically crappy, or eat too much and I feel physically crappy. So the driver for me is that when I feel good from exercise, I want to eat something that feels rewarding and feels fulfilling and satiating, but continues to make me feel good. So I will prepare something that's really nice and yummy and put the effort into it, and plan really good meals that are rewarding, that still maintain that feel good in my body.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me.
I think a lot of those, doing quotations here, like healthy foods, it comes with a lot of like your good nutrients and vitamins and minerals, and it doesn't slow you down. It doesn't make you feel lethargic. It energizes you. It makes you feel better, not from just I guess how you feel like, oh, I ate shit or I ate well, but there's actually science and research done on that shows that when you're eating good quality food, it does improve your energy and how you feel and everything like that. So it very much goes hand in hand. And for people like yourself, which, I speak to a lot of people, and there are, quite a lot of people who have similar mindset where it just kind of all works in together. It's that whole ecosystem of health and fitness. And it's not just about eating well or exercising. It carries over to how you feel and how that, manages your stress, how your productivity is with work, how you are with your relationships with your family, how you sleep. And it kind of all works together to just make you feel fantastic.
Hey guys, just very quickly, if you have been enjoying our podcast and you've been watching us on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to our channel. If you've been listening to our podcast, give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you've been listening to us. It really helps the channel grow, and I would be extremely appreciative and grateful if you took a moment to do that for me. Okay, that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of the show.
That's one of the things you just mentioned then. Relationship with family is a big part of what this, especially the 6-week challenge, and most definitely the last year being with Break-Thru Active. So an issue for me with 3 young children at home and a hardworking husband is managing to fit in exercise so that it doesn't adversely affect my family, so that I can plan and be involved in meeting my goals, because I feel like I'm getting ripped off if I can't get there. So I've never been a morning person, just as an example, never been a morning person. My husband's formerly a pastry chef, so he is a morning person. So he'd be trying to get me out of bed early in the morning saying that's the best time to do exercise. And I was always stubborn and reluctant to acknowledge that fact. And I'd go to the gym in the afternoons. I'd go for a run in the afternoons after work. No, because that's when it suits me. And it was really adversely affecting my relationships with both my husband and my kids, because, you know, they're all afternoons, witching hour. Everyone's home from school, got to prepare meals, got children, you know, especially a special needs toddler, little one. And I'm out and going for a run. I'm going to the gym. That was, I had to reevaluate how I could maintain that commitment to myself and not adversely affect my relationships. So I did a major flicked a switch in my brain and said, I have to get out of bed in the morning and go early. So getting out of bed at a time when there's a 5 at the beginning of the number was like offensive to me. But now that I actually do it, I open my eyes in the morning and I roll out of bed. I co-sleep with my little one because he's an absconder, but I roll out of bed. I close the pool gate that I have on his bedroom door to keep him in. I open my 12-year-old's door so that she's able to look in at him because he's still sound asleep. And I get up and go. I do what I have to do.
Morning.
And yeah, that change meant that I was able to. I had to go. I'm still rewarding myself. This isn't a bad thing. This isn't me, giving in to his pressure. No, this is me still rewarding myself with what I want to do, but I'm doing it in a time that's suitable for my family. And the added advantage is I'd get home at the end of the day. The exercise is already done. I've already got my steps up. I've got quality time with my family. Our family meal is completely stress-free. My time with my husband is now much easier. And so everyone wins. So changing that, just making that change to the mornings had a huge impact on improving our management as a family. I reward myself on Sundays. I don't get out of bed before 8 o'clock. My husband knows that. And now there's no issue with that. He sort of goes, rightio, leave mum alone. So it's just a win-win all round with me getting to the gym in the mornings. So you just have to appreciate how much effort that takes.
Even more so now that I know that it used to be a struggle, but it's interesting because when I speak to people about time of the day to exercise, whether they're starting or it's just like an ongoing thing, there are people like yourself who are super busy. You work, partner works, you've got 4 kids, special needs child, which makes it hard, all of those things, to be able to just peace out at whatever time you want, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, leave all that, come back an hour later or however long later and just resume your afternoon. Whereas mornings are fantastic because you get up, as long as you don't snooze the alarm, you get up, you go, you get it done, you're home by 7 o'clock or, whatever time, and then you carry on with your day from there. And it's all been done. Like you said, you've started to get some activity in, you can tick that one off, you feel good for the rest of the day, then you get ready for your day, get ready for kids' day. And then when the afternoon, gets around in the evenings, that's family time. And it's very different for someone without a family and, maybe they're at uni or, working part-time or even working full-time. They can kind of work it in whenever they want. And it's not really going to have that much effect on other people because they're just looking out for themselves, which is totally cool too. But things change as you get older, you get a family, full-time job, career, all that stuff, and find that the mornings are the only time for many that they can make it happen. And as long as they roll out, it's fine.
I think a lot of people mistakenly don't, like, once you get all those other family commitments and life commitments come up in your experience as you move forward, and you're full-time employed and have children and mortgages and gardens to keep and all that sort of thing. We mistakenly sort of push the priority to ourselves back. It becomes less important until it's a breaking point. I have to lose weight. I've got to do something, where you've let it go. And I think it's sad that is a process that a lot of people experience, where they lose their fitness as they, head into their later years, doing all of those other things that are a more important priority. Ironically, they're not more important than one's personal health. And we seem to sort of shift away from prioritizing ourselves because all of these other things are apparently more important. But I can vouch for the fact that they are not. The biggest win for my family is me being fit and healthy.
Yeah, and it's hard to communicate, because I completely agree. It's hard to communicate that, and unfortunately, until sometimes people experience that when they go down that time of not really exercising, letting their health sort of get the better of them for a while. And like you said, it is often at times when maybe their doctor gives them a kick up the arse, or they see it.
Yeah, hindsight.
Yeah, they see a photo of themselves that they don't like, or they're not able to fit into those jeans that they've been wearing for the last 10 years. And that's kind of why going.
That post that I put up recently, you would have seen, I just posted a before, progress. It took quite a bit for me to, because there's ownership in that. But what the reason why I share those sorts of things, so a photo of myself a year ago, a good 12, 14 kilos heavier, and really quite unhealthy, to where I am now. The idea behind sharing those images is hopefully to inspire some of my family and friends and some of my social media community to go, well, yeah, we can do that too. I'm sure there's bragging rights, but there's also this sense of, I want other people to understand that it can be achieved by anybody, anywhere. You could just hop on your bike, just get it started. And that's why I share those sorts of images, is to try and hopefully motivate other people that, yeah, you will slide in life, but it doesn't mean the journey's over and you can't pick it back up and kickstart your own fitness and wellness journey, no matter where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's something we love to see too. But a big message we like to portray is it's never too late either. 40, no. 55, 50, 55, 60, 65, like it's never actually too late, because when you are getting, into your 50s, 60s, 70s, everything does start to slow down, and you start getting across some aches and pains and things. But that's typically for people who aren't looking after themselves, and that's where it's very accepted that, by the time you're 70, you might need to have a walking stick, or you won't be able to get upstairs, or you're going to have that sore back, or you won't be able to walk down to the shops. But it really doesn't have to be that way. And I think that message gets passed down from other people who are, in that situation. But it's never too late to make change. And obviously, we're not saying that you're going to become this super athlete and an Olympian or anything like that, but it's never too late to be able to get started, improve your health, improve your fitness, drop a bit of weight, get a little bit stronger, all things that are going to make you feel a lot better. And regardless of age, whether you're 18, you're 30, you're 50, you're 70, like that is possible. And I think, like what you said, being able to motivate other people in your network to make a change, and it may not be today or tomorrow, but there may be a long lost Facebook friend that you don't talk to that sees that and encourages them to get started. And if that's the case, then you've achieved what you wanted out of that.
Yeah, I had a just before we started the challenge, as you know, I have had we've got a flat at the back of our house that I had a tenant in the flat who happened to be a personal friend. And just at the beginning of this challenge, she was morbidly obese, and we had been talking about her fitness or lack of. And I had been just continuing on my journey, just attending Break-Thru Active and trying to eat well, and having her in for dinner and things like that to sort of try and get her eating well. She actually passed away at the beginning of this challenge, which was a very, very difficult process, because of course I went through a grieving process, and part of that is I was feeding myself in that grieving process. But I really, the challenge came up at a critical point for me where I needed to get myself back on track and remember why I go through this process, why I work so hard for my own fitness and well-being. And her having been so unwell physically, emotionally, mentally, she was a very unwell woman. So her death really inspired me to kick myself back up the arse and get back on the track and keep going. And when the challenge came up, I was sort of, oh, am I ready for that? And it was a case of I actually have to do this challenge to make sure I don't fall down a rabbit hole. Because life does that to us. It throws us curveballs. We get sick. Things happen. We lose jobs. Relationships break up, whatever. And those curveballs can really trigger the wrong track. Like I think I've put in a message once that it's like a sliding door moment where you can, those things that happen can push you in the wrong direction, where you suddenly go down. And it's really important to be aware of when they happen and not lose sight of your goals, your long-term health and fitness goals. Years ago, I saw a lady trying to get on a bus before the modern buses that go up and down. She wasn't very old or anything, but I just saw that this woman was struggling to climb on this bus. And I've never forgotten that image of wanting to make sure I'm always looking after my health and wellness, that I'm able to maintain my independence in life, and be able to get onto a bus without difficulty or without needing support or help. I mean, I know people have things that happen in their life and that may be a reasonable issue for people. I'm not judging that, but it did it just brings back that idea of having an image of where you want your life to be and how you need to apply effort to help keeping yourself on that track.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Firstly, when you said when people go through hard times and challenging times, you can get led astray a little bit with your health, stop working out, start eating crap. A lot of people start drinking more, take up smoking a bit again. Some people start using drugs, all sorts of stuff. And that's where if you can keep health, fitness, training, eating well as a constant, it's going to limit that challenge that you're facing, because you are going to at least be feeling good about yourself from a physical perspective. It's going to do wonders for your mental health. Whereas if something tragic does happen to you and then you stop all these things that make you feel good, it's just going to amplify the situation and you're going to feel a lot worse than if you were still carrying on with your healthy lifestyle. And last thing, because we are just about out of time here, but when you said about longevity and being able to be independent, it's extremely important. And I'm sure older people who are no longer dependent, depending on the age. And obviously, like you said, there are circumstances that lead to that for some people. But the thought of being 80 or 90 and being able to still live at your own home and being able to get up and down stairs and mow your lawn and do your own shopping, like it's something that there aren't that many people that age that still do it. And I really think if people are able to turn the clock forward 30, 40, 50, 60 years and think that's where I want to be, then it is going to help keep them healthy enough to hopefully be able to not need any of that. And that's what we could talk about this for a long time, but that's what the whole system's dependent on at the moment. They get people in pensions and aged care and things like that. But having that foresight, and I think it's fantastic for you to, be in your 40s and to be thinking like that. It's, you're many steps ahead of a lot of people.
Thank you, Mitch. But one of my final thoughts is that I've got kids and I need to demonstrate to my children, this is how you can live well, is look after yourself.
Yeah. Be a good role model too. I think that goes a long way. Well, we will leave it there, Richelle, but that was a really, really interesting chat, and I loved every moment of it. So I think I'll have to get you on again at some point. We can continue the conversation. But I do appreciate you sharing, your story and your thoughts on it all. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who listen to this who can resonate and can take a bit out of it. So appreciate you coming on and sharing it all.
Thank you very much, Mitchell.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you on the next one.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.